Information management is essential for you to get your level 4 award in the internal quality assurance of assessment process and practice. So we have to share your assessment records and personal details to the awarding body for you to get a certificate. Basically, if we don't, you won't get the certificate. So we're only allowed to do this if we comply with the general data protection regulations. So when you enroll on level 4 award in the internal quality assurance of assessment process and practice, you'll sign a waiver to say it's okay for us to share your information with the awarding body. The only third party that will share your data with would be your employer, but only if they had paid for your level 4 award in internal quality assurance process and practice qualification. So we need to ensure that we maintain your assessment records for level 4 award in internal quality assurance of assessment process and practice for 3 years after you get your certificate, as that is a requirement from the awarding body. Where we have DCS, direct claim status, which is once you have completed your work and it's gone through the IQA, we can issue your certificate. Training providers only do this once they prove themselves to the awarding body as a training provider, which does all of the right things and shows consistency. So only decent training providers of the level 4 award and the internal quality assurance of assessment process and practice will get DCS. To issue your certificates, we do not need to submit your assessment records to the awarding body. However, as part of our DCS approval each year, we'll get an annual visit from an EQA and they'll select learners at random and they'll say, can I have so-and-so's assessment records, IQA reports, blah, 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 and we have to give it to them. So they'll then go through all these assessment records to ensure that we're still doing the right things and we've maintained our high standards. If they see assessment records that are not being maintained or do not meet the required levels, they'll just simply withdraw the certificates and invalidate them, which makes them useless to our learners, which is just not a good thing. In Unit 2, the Level 4 award and the internal quality assurance of processes and practice, you're going to collate private and confidential information about your employers and your assessors. As such, we need to ensure that any information is secured by us and only accessed by certain individuals in the company. So we need permission to do so. Our marketing team, for example, do not need to know about these. In your role as an IQA, you'll hold records of learner files, assessment records, and certificate claims. You need to ensure all this information is kept secure, because failure to do so will be a breach of the general data protection regulations, which is likely to be a large fine, one you can do without. Make sure that you complete a data risk assessment and put in procedures to limit the potential of learners' information being breached. A simple method is to make files password protected. It's important to manage information towards internal quality assurance of assessment for several reasons, but primarily to ensure the validation and accreditation of the qualification. It must be kept to provide evidence of good practice, and authorized access must be ready for submission. It is the law under the newly revised Data Protection Act, GDPR, to ensure that all personal information is recorded and confidentiality is kept to ensure privacy is maintained. All personal information must be protected with no unauthorized access, and all information to be continually secured for up to 3 years after completion of the qualification.